Hello everybody. Today we're going to look at the big picture, which I call Homo Spiritus art, and it's going to be looking at creativity as vital energy for the positive evolution of Homo Spiritus. Now, there are a few versions one can find regarding Homo Spiritus, and as I feel this term exactly aligns with where humanity is divinely guided as we evolve positively within our cosmos, our beautiful etheric plasma, alive, electrically charged environment. So I'm going to use the term Homo Spiritus in conjunction with the aliveness around us that we bring into us to feed our spirit in order to create. So to me, it simply means the spirited human, full with creative potential, the third eye open, a healthy functioning pineal gland, an open heart, and also the sloughing off of junk DNA strands, and ourselves returning to our original unaltered state of being. This state of Homo Spiritus allows all areas of creativity to be fully realized. We can now arrange or rearrange the space-time continuum to suit the future we wish to live in, and I'm going to attempt to paint that. So we start with art as a basis because art and artistry is at the root of all aesthetic and spiritual beauty within which we ultimately seek to reside. Our creative neuron capacity to catalyze a fully realized, evolved human future into existence has been severely stifled by design in many ways. For many people, this means starting from scratch to revitalize those creative neurons, to stimulate our hearts, minds, and souls into full consciousness through artistic endeavors. This in turn will also stimulate those vital organs of the body, such as the pineal gland, to be revitalized. So when this happens, one is able to see clearly through the veil that has been slowly and quietly dropped over the face of Homo Spiritus. I can break this down into very easy terminology just by stating that when one's creative neurons are fired up, one's decisions regarding all areas of life are now positively aspected to bring about an infusion of ideas that can now be applied to all areas of one's life. For example, creativity infused into gardening, cooking, and organizing. These tasks are no longer chores, but rather delights, wherein your creative self can apply itself with joy. So then everything one can learn in visual art can be applied to all fields of discipline, because the basics of art are easily applied by way of the natural laws of universal alchemy. The basics of art also hold the key to expansion of thought, because they function together in a way that can be applied to many fields of interest. These universal laws in visual art are line, color, perspective, composition, light and shadow, inspiration methods, very importantly, and your expression from your soul. And these elements of visual study can be used to enhance almost anything you can think of, from a festival to furnishing a room to designing clothing, and even to scientific studies where patterns will suddenly reveal themselves, which went unnoticed, before, you see this new phenomena appearing before your eyes because now you can see differently and your creative neurons are fired up. And before, your eye was not trained to see the bigger picture through the practice of visual art. So this is how visual art helps you to see beyond the veil. So are you beginning to see how important this is now? We are told that art is just another subject at school, aren't we? Art is usually one of the first subjects cut when budgets dwindle. Have you ever asked yourself why? Hordes of creative people applying their creativity to all walks of life are a huge threat to the establishment. Our fully realized creative potential let loose in the world would render us uncontrollable. We would question everything. We would sense agendas that did not align with our positive evolution. The colors of war would appear murky and unappealing. The composition of statutes would reveal themselves as out of balance with our best interests. We would see the dark areas of newly introduced acts, like parliamentary acts, and want to add more light. Our imaginations would conjure solutions, and we would be divinely inspired to create alternative solutions. An enemy's perspective would quickly be perceived as too upfront with no depth. You see how this works in? This may sound like semantics to some. Too much of a stretch, you might think. Yet, once you make this leap with art and transfer the basics of art into all realms of life, you will indeed begin to see the bigger picture. This is what I mean by Homo Spiritus art and its application to life. Just by learning to teach the basics of art, you are doing humanity a great justice, as the powers that be seek to guide humanity away from our spiritual selves and our spirited selves through transhumanist agendas. We will require more and more people to be fully capable of accessing their creativity on a soul level. Because when you access your creativity, you are also accessing your inner intuition, and you can tell when something's not quite right. So this is why I've created a methodology for anyone to be able to reunite with their inner artist. It's a book called Splat, and you can see it here. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to be back soon. Please subscribe and leave your comments down below. Bye. Art was highly revered in all the greatest civilizations, and it's also a vehicle for positive human evolution. For these reasons, everyone should know and learn how to teach the basics of art. Human creativity must be kept alive at all costs. Listen to this. According to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, scientists did a study on the creativity levels of a certain study group and revealed that 98% of children are born with a genius creativity level until they're about 5 years old. And by the time they reach 10 years old, only 30% of the children in the study were left in the genius creative category. And by age 15, that had dropped to a staggering low of 12%. And sadly, after years of schooling, adults are at a measly 2%, those that were left with their creative genius intact. So what better reason could there be to stay in touch with creativity than studying art and maintaining a high level of creativity throughout life? What better reason could be found to teach art to children and keep their creative genius alive and kicking from birth? So, splat yourself around the soul and start being creative. Splat has everything needed under one roof to pursue your creativity and enable others to do so as well by learning how to teach the basics of art. This includes the 10 basic steps of art with seamless lessons. The lessons flow from one to the other, inspiration methodologies, meditations for creativity, one for children and one for adults, and a progress chart with a celebration of completion once all the lessons have been completed to the best of one's ability. And the celebration of completion is in lieu of grades, because when you grade somebody, then they put themselves on a scale of good to bad as an artist, and it doesn't help them. But if they complete a course, then they feel much better about being an artist and that they are an artist. So, how did you arrive here at this moment in time? Let me guess. To reinvigorate your artistic self? To learn creative sovereignty through art? To affirm that you are creative energy in human form? Perhaps to be able to illustrate or decorate that great idea of yours? Maybe you're wanting to teach art or hone your art teaching skills? Are you one of those people that feel art frozen, wishing to learn how to defrost your artistic self? Are you an art teacher who is frustrated with the educational art system? Maybe you're wanting to learn to teach art to loved ones who have shown an eager interest in art, even though you have never considered yourself a person who is able to teach art. Are you wanting to be part of a new art paradigm in the new world we are creating, to apply the art basics in such a way that can allow the subconscious mind to take over by naturally defaulting from the rules as you learn to create from soul? Maybe to experience being a conscious part of changing the art landscape of life itself. Maybe to express your connection to Source and humanity, especially now. Feeling called to learn to contextualize the great art awakening, as I like to call it. Maybe even to prepare to delve into your natural-born creator self that you may have perhaps always denied. Maybe to connect with the cosmos for inspiration. Who knows? But you're here. So welcome aboard to your new artistic self. So please look at Splat, maybe get one, give one to a friend for a gift. And you can pre-order it at my website at JaneEvershedArt.com. Thank you so much for being with me throughout this video, and I hope you share it and subscribe. Bye!